You're listening to the Feed Your Wild podcast, a conscious lifestyle show about all things nourishing for your body, mind, and soul. I'm Vanessa Rodriguez, and join me for candid conversations with changemakers, exploring health and wellness, food as medicine, intuition and spirituality, and nature-based practices that will transform your health and feed all parts of your wild self. Hello, welcome to Feed Your Wild. I'm your host, Vanessa Rodriguez, your intuitive nourishment guide today. And we got a juicy new moon musing today for you. There's lots of little gems in this one, so I'm excited to dive in. We have not just a moon musing and really looking at this Gemini season and new moon and how it connects to us, relating to our experience with our thoughts, communication. We got Mercury retrograde going, as well as ways of connecting it back to the body and how you might be experiencing some of these so-called challenges at the body level and what we can do to start to bring in some support with herbs and practices. But we also have a mini Akashic reading. I open up the records as I do with every episode, just to really have that frequency dialed in and connected, because we all, as a collective, as you, a listener to this podcast, are connected to this collective field. And sometimes I get the invitation to channel and receive a message, and I did so today. So we have a mini Akashic reading for you during this new moon in Gemini. And we also have a tarot card pull. So I was told to pull a card, and there is a lot of insight that comes in with this card. It kind of just wraps everything up with a bow and closes our time. So there's lots to sink our teeth into today. Before we dive into our new moon message, I wanted to share something that I'm really excited about, and I knew that something was going to come through around this, but I didn't know how it would shape up. And that is, I have reopened the doors to my signature Feed Your Wild voice program for a very limited time only. As you'll see when we start diving into this new moon message and energies and frequencies and all about Gemini, there's so much about communication, about our mental function, thoughts, beliefs, self-talk, and inner voices. I've worked with so many beautiful souls that keep their truth hidden. There's a lot of reasons for this, so it's conscious or not. There are really valid reasons for hiding one's truth, even to yourself, because we all know our truth with a capital K, no. But sometimes we are not fully connected to it. Like, we have it hidden behind something. And so we feel disconnected from our truth at times. And yet we are here to step out in a really big way to share our gifts and to share our voices and our truth through our voice and our words. And our voice can come through beyond just our words, right? Our voice can come through in so many different ways, but it's really, this energy is housed in our throat center, our throat chakra. And many of you have reached out to me asking if I'm ever going to open up doors again to Feed Your Wild Voice, which supports this very important center, especially during this time. So I decided to open up a surprise flash sale of Feed Your Wild Voice outside of our normal public enrollment periods, so that you can get started with bringing healing and harmony to your voice and throat center on a body, mind, soul level. And we're opening it up today, immediately, and at the best price ever, because this program is going to shift and change. And because of certain changes we'll be implementing, we are increasing the prices. So Now is the time to sign up if you have been thinking about it in the past, or even you're hearing about it for the first time and it's really resonating. We're really at a pivotal time in our collective healing, and we need all hands and voices on deck to create this more beautiful world we know is possible. So I am dropping the link in the show notes. You can go to wildlyrooted.com/feed your wild voice and learn more. This sale closes. The doors are going to close next week, June 6th. So make sure to get in on this, capture that price that I have before it goes up, and join all of these other beautiful beings that are in this collective energy field of the Feed Your Wild Voice program, so that you can bring some really deep focus and healing in this center. I'll talk a little bit more about it at the end of this episode. So if this is the first time you're hearing about the program and you want to learn more, I would definitely recommend waiting to the end to hear more about this program, because I don't want to take up too much time in the beginning here talking about it. I want to dive into our episode, but wait to the end to hear a little bit more details on that. And you can always go to the website, the sales page, to learn more. That's wildlyrooted.com/feed your wild voice. All right, let's get into our moon musing today. May 30th, 2022. We got our Gemini New Moon, and this baby closes up the Eclipse Portal. Whew! Oh my, I don't know how you have been experiencing this eclipse season. Pretty intense for myself, especially in the realms of communication. So I'm kind of glad that we're stepping outside of this portal, although I'm always grateful for eclipse season and these portals, because they really bring up so much that's like in the muck, that's in the depths that we need to be looking at, we need to move through. And so these are really opportunities to be able to do that, and sometimes in not so pleasant ways. So this is the first new moon after our eclipse season, and this is always an important one because it kind of brings in this fresh energy, you know? It helps to bring in like a new breeze coming in, fresh perspective, and also gives us time to take a look back, feel into everything that has been surfaced, and integrate everything that we've learned or that we've moved through during the eclipse portals, so that we can really feel good about moving forward. Now, while there's this fresh energy, we're still in this period where it might feel a little foggy, and especially mentally, things might be a little bit jumbled still. I know that I've been experiencing that, and baby brain is a real thing, like new mama baby brain, and the lack of sleep and just all the things that go with that. So I know that there's a lot more to it, but I've really experienced this amplification of the mental fogginess over the past few weeks. So I just want to share that. And if any of you have been experiencing that too, there's some very real reasons cosmically of why that might be happening. One of the things that we are seeing that we experience every so often is Mercury retrograde. So Mercury is the ruling planet of Gemini. And so Mercury has a more of an influence on this new moon. Mercury retrograde is this opportunity really for us to look at the things, to take a deeper look at, again, kind of like a mini eclipse season, right? Like some of these things that need to be reworked or revised, and to sit with them and to be with them, and then to take action once we feel that call to do so. And very often it's when Mercury goes direct. So with that being said, Gemini, connected to the mental function and our thoughts, beliefs, our self-talk, we need to begin to, if we haven't already established a practice, regularly clearing our mind and becoming more masterful around our thinking. So it's very common and natural. It's like literally embedded in our nature to have repetitive thinking and automatic thinking when it comes to our thoughts and behaviors. This is, you could say, an evolutionary result because it's more efficient and it's beneficial to have things running in the background, like in our subconscious, or just automatically and so rapidly that we don't actually need to bring it to our forethought in the front of our minds. And yet, in our current world, in our modern world, it has become a really big challenge for so many of us to clear more of the obsessive and negative repetitive thought patterns that can bog us down in our daily life experience. This is a practice. This is not something that, when I say become more masterful around it, it doesn't mean that it's one and done. You become master and then you never have to do it again. It's more about getting into a state where your practice of clearing your mind, bringing your awareness and attention to the present is almost automatic itself. So you cultivate this environment and habitual practices of presence and awareness. And it's so much more pleasurable to move through this world when you can really embody that state. And there's seasons for that too. Sometimes you feel like you've mastered it and then there's an up leveling, or there's something that's shifted in your life, or there's another thing that's even deeper that we need to be looking at. And so again, there's never any final destination with these types of things. Mercury is retrograde until June 3rd. And then once we move into June 3rd and thereafter, there's the shadow period of Mercury retrograde. But once Mercury is direct in Taurus, that this energy really feels like clear, speaking your truth with integrity and depth, telling it like it is, right? Really grounded in your truth and your communication. There's also new ideas and downloads and insights for things connected to Taurus, very Taurian things, for example. Food, wealth, currencies, the earth, land, plants, your throat, thyroid. So potentially C is receiving of downloads and insights for the good of the future collective destiny regarding these things. And I really hope that is the case. Because food, I talked about this in some past episodes, food is a thing. We really need to be looking at the source of our food. Where is our food coming from? Can we grow our own food? Can we be sharing food? How can we make it not just sustainable, but regenerative? And tending to the sacredness, because so much of the sacredness has been taken out of food. I mean, we see so many awful practices around agriculture and the animals that we might consume, and even how we relate to food and ourselves in eating. There's so much to be said with all of that. Also with land and the earth, really calling forth the stewards of land and being able to share resources. A lot of potential there with all of that. Now, let's take a look at Gemini and some of the energetic features, if you will, of this season with Gemini and this new moon. So Gemini is ruled by the dual signs of the twins, and Gemini energy is quick, rules communication, dynamic dialogue, it's versatile, it's vibrant. As I'd mentioned, the ruling planet is Mercury. And the element, if we're looking at the elemental features connected to the signs, with Gemini, the element is air, or Vata, if we're looking from an Ayurvedic approach. When we're connecting Gemini to the body, when we look at what body systems or parts are connected to Gemini, we see the lungs, so breath, breathing, lungs, also speech and hearing is connected to Gemini, and the nervous system and nerves are also connected to Gemini. We also have our arms, shoulders, and hands. When we look at the tissue states or the body systems and parts connected to Gemini and how they can become imbalanced, we typically see things that bring more of like a tense wind-like energy, tension. So we can see this in terms of pathology, like when something, quote, goes wrong, there's a tension there. There's wind energy. We also see dryness and atrophy, and we see more of a cooling pattern versus warming. So we can see this with cramping, stress, anxiety, scattered thoughts. These are all ways that an imbalanced Gemini energy can come through. And I know that this is extremely common in a lot of folks, not just for Geminis, right? So when I'm talking about these things, I'm talking about patterns for anybody, but that we are connected to Gemini energy when out of balance. When things are in balance, we see beautiful communication, raw perception. We see channeling of messages, playfulness, community-minded, the ability for quick thinking and to verbalize what's happening and helping others find their words. There's the gift of perception. There's a really healthy nervous system. We want to move toward those gifts of Gemini and support ourselves when we're feeling those signs of imbalance. So again, when we're looking at our respiratory system, how are we breathing? How are our thought patterns? How's our nervous system doing? How about speech or our hands, like our hands shaking? Then we need to be tending to these imbalances within. When you're looking from a medical astrology perspective, you can take a look at where Gemini and Mercury are in your chart, what else is going on in connection to them. You can check out your third house. I highly recommend you work with a medical astrologer because there is so much that is happening and that so much that we don't know. And it's really important to be working with somebody who has really established a deep understanding of this work. I have an episode with Judith Hill, and she's phenomenal. I highly recommend her. I think she's booked out for a really long time, but they might have referrals to other medical astrologers. I also recommend Seja Papam, who's another one of my teachers, and he has some amazing programs that I have also shared in the past with other episodes. So those are two resources that you can check out in terms of looking at the body and astrology. And of course, there's also Ayurvedic practitioners with Jyotish astrology. So that's astrology more from a Vedic lens. And you can work with Jyotish astrologers on that too for a different perspective. Okay, so if you're hearing this and you're like, I have all of those imbalances, or you have a sense that that's something that you journey with often, maybe it's something that comes and goes, then here are some potential herbs that can be really supportive. So when we're looking at Gemini and remedies, we are looking at herbs that are warming and moistening. So remember I mentioned cold and dry. And so you want to bring in something that's warming and soothing and moistening. We also want to support our nervous system. So bitters is a way that we can really bring some soothing to our nervous system, some nervine bitters. And also some nutritive herbs and tonic herbs can be really helpful for these types of imbalances. Some off the top of my head that are some of my favorites are milky oats. I love milky oats. It's so soothing for the nervous system. And alfalfa is really nutritive. I love that mix of milky oats and alfalfa. It just is so soothing and yummy tasting. It's like a multi-mineral also when you're drinking an infusion of that. So highly recommend that. And that's something you can have every day. It's very gentle and most folks have no issues with that at all. Another one is motherwort. So motherwort, we can connect to the heart. We can connect to our sacral chakra and womb space. Motherwort is a nervine, so it's really soothing for the nerves as well. It's very bitter, so you probably want to take it in tincture form. But of course, with any herbs, you really want to do your homework and make sure you don't have any contraindications or that they're just a good fit. But you can always get curious, and the best way is to connect with the herbs yourself and really start to work with them through taste. So take a drop of motherwort, see how that tastes for you. What does your body tell you about it? What is that experience like? Another one of my favorites is lemon balm. And that one is more of a sunny, minty flavor that is also soothing for the nervous system. And I love a sun tea. So that's putting the herbs out in water, out in the sun, of lemon balm. It's so tasty. And then you can cool it down and have some iced lemon balm tea during the warmer days that are coming up here in the Northern Hemisphere. And throw some hibiscus in there, throw a little bit of honey, and so delicious. Maybe a little bit of cinnamon, which is another really soothing herb too, but also warming. I love cinnamon for its warming energy, and you can add that to any tea that you have for just more of a warming effect. So those are just some ideas for you. If any of those sound good to you, I encourage you to try them out and even have a tea journal. So I created a tea journal I have inside of the Feed Your Wild Voice program. And all of this information that I'm sharing is also inside the program too, along with other ways to support this important center of the Voice Center. But these are just some really easy, daily, accessible ways that we can support ourselves and these imbalances we might experience in this time. Now, when we look at practices are more that, right? They're practices. So they're learning to speak from a place of authenticity. And what does that mean for you? Well, it could be that maybe even just on a daily basis, things that might seem innocuous, but in the long term, when you're doing it cumulatively, it can be harmful. And that is little white lies or little white lies to yourself. So for example, if somebody asks you, are you cool with that? Or asks you for a favor and you continuously put yourself last and sacrifice to be able to maybe assist this person or do something for someone so that they can see you in a certain way, doing things that are out of your truth, saying things that are not fully true for yourself, all of that chips away and it matters, even if in that moment it doesn't seem like it would matter because it's such a little thing. Cumulatively, it has a big effect. So learning to speak from a place of authenticity daily, right? So being integritous daily. What does that really mean and look like for you? And I want you to take this into your little daily practices. Those times where habitually you sacrifice your own truth and yourself for someone else or something else. Can you in that moment stop yourself in that momentum, pause, and really ask yourself, is this something that I really want to do or say? And what is true for me? So that's a huge practice that you can do at any moment, every day. And you'll start to see once you start to implement that, it gets easier and easier. And also the external circumstances around you start to shift and change in miraculous ways because you are showing up. You're showing up as yourself. And you are, in that way, are becoming, again, the creator of your reality. And that's what we really all are. We're all the creators of our own realities, or co-creators, but you have to be in that place of truth in order to do so. Otherwise, you create a reality that is not based on your truth, and we don't want that. Another one that I would recommend, especially in this time, is conscious communication. So that means it kind of is connected to this place of speaking from authenticity. But what does conscious communication mean for you within your family system, with your partner or your children or your friends, your loved ones, your boss, your coworkers? Conscious communication means that everything you say and communicate, whether it's through words or not, is coming from a place of awareness and presence, and not from a place of habitual pattern, subconscious blocks, fear, or worry. And this can be a tricky one because we have to figure that out as we go. And a lot of us need support in that way. Very often, especially in relationships, I know that I experience this too. It's like I can be a wonderful communicator everywhere, except when it comes to my intimate partnerships or in communication with some loved ones. Then I fall into these deep patterns that have been set into place since I was a baby or even prenatal in utero. So then I need to look at supporting my nervous system so that I don't go into these automatic reactions and play out these patterns again. And instead, I can pause and notice what's happening with my nervous system, where my thoughts are going, what my body and my voice wants to do and say. Pause before any of that and ask myself, what is it that I really need in this moment? Do I need to tell my partner, my parent, my child, I need a moment? This is not the best time for me. Let's come back and talk about this. And then actually following up, because remember, you're speaking from a place of authenticity and integrity. So that means keeping your word, right? So you are going to show up again in a time that you're not so activated and your nervous system is on board and supported so that you can have some conscious communication in a safe way. So sometimes those pauses and those rescheduling in that way can be really helpful. Also, any way you're going to support your nervous system. So maybe that's with breath. Taking some deep breaths before you proceed with what you're going to say or do. Maybe it's some somatic work, some somatic body work to really help support your body's reaction with the nervous system and how it wants to react so that you can get out of these patterns. So just some ways that we can begin to look at, it's not just about stop saying that thing or stop doing that thing or you need to speak your truth. It's about looking at what is holding you back from doing so. What do you need to nourish yourself deeply in order to be in this place of authenticity and conscious communication, right? Sleep is a really big one. I just have to throw this last one in there. There's so much more, right, in terms of practices, but sleep is huge when it comes to supporting our nervous system and our mental faculties. And a lot of, I would say, Gemini and Virgo energy that's imbalanced and in disarray is because of lack of good quality sleep. So I encourage you to dive into that rabbit hole. If that one is really like ping, 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 that one is for me. Okay, well, just put a pin in that. And then maybe after listening to this, look at what are some of the ways and the things that need to shift in order for you to have some deeper rest and quality sleep happening. Those are some pieces I wanted to bring in connection to this new moon in Gemini, because this is an opportunity to start to look at what are the ways that we can move in this world with more alignment and in our truth, especially once Mercury goes direct in Taurus. These are going to be really, really helpful things to start to focus on, especially the food and the herbs portion for your body and somatic healing. So, in summary, we need a new kind of thinking and to be relentless in focusing on what it is that we want to create and how we are showing up to create that in this world in order to create that more beautiful world we know is possible, as Charles Eisenstein says, or this new earth. And I don't know if you guys are hearing that, but the rooster in the background is definitely using his voice in this time, and I love it. It's like this reminder of the audacity and the claiming your place. I am here. Hear my voice without apologies. I love that as the background track to this podcast episode. Okay, so at this point, I want to shift into our mini Akashic channeling that I received from our guides. And then we're going to look at the tarot card that I was called to pull and how it all comes together. Okay, so here we go with our mini Akashic message for this new moon in Gemini. The winds are changing. Refer back to the Akashic message on winds for more on this. There are seasonalities to certain frequencies. Of course, with each season bringing its own flavor and subtle changes from the time before. With this time on Earth, with Gemini frequencies, so many are experiencing the pain of duality, the challenges of the discordance within. You can say the twins are in conflict, and the sometimes difficult piece of this is remembering that they are actually one. However, this perceived split is by design. It is like a contemplative practice. You have to be with it. Sit with these seemingly dual energies and reconcile what you might think are differences, when actuality, so much of it is part of the larger illusion. There is so much to say on this, but we leave you with a short call to action. Mirror work. Mirror work will be powerful this season. See all sides of yourself in this mirror. Lean in and journey through the portal of your own eyes. See the roots of all worries, ailments, reactions, and simply be with them. No need to change anything right now. Simply being in total presence and witness to yourselves in this way is transformative by nature. One way we can explain this is by recalling the quantum principle of the observer effect. The very act of watching, the observer affects the observed reality. This simple yet profound practice can and will change your life. And by changing your life, you change the world. We must also speak to the issue of desired change versus necessary and organic evolutionary change. It is so easy to want a certain effect, to desire a version of the world to come into being. However, the actual result from change is not your business. Your business is to dream and to be. These are not passive, despite your mental gremlins causing grief or shame at the thought of not doing or being enough to effect change. The moment your mind goes to that place, you know the gremlins have taken over. We say gremlins both in jest and in fact, as gremlins are regarded as both beings and causes. As a being, a gremlin is a mischievous sprite seen as responsible for the unexplained problems or faults that you have experienced. As causes, gremlins are the cause of trouble, difficulties, especially mechanical, electrical, and systematic in nature. This, of course, is particularly true relating to your mind and during Mercury retrograde. In any creative process, no matter if it is in the arts, developmental in nature, or related to inventions of any kind, there is a process of play and experimentation, even perceived messiness that is necessary. Some may experience this period as a series of failures. Nonetheless, it is required that exploration be part of any birthing anew. We see this with supernovas, the development of a butterfly, the birth of a being on earth. And so it will be experienced in birthing a new world. Patience is not just a virtue. It is a state that one embodies naturally and without effort when in the depths of the creative process, in full beingness, present and awake for each moment. Keep this in your mind when the gremlins take over. At this point in the reading, our guides want us to pull a card, and we have the World card reverse, the 21st card of the major arcana. This is our final stop. Talk about New Earth. This card ruled by Saturn. The World card really represents a completion. So it's like we've moved through a phase and turned the globe, did a full 360, and now we are moving into a different space and we're leaving behind an old world. We're clearing something out in a very deep way and moving into a new space of possibilities and of new ways of being. And in order to do that, we have to finish up, clear out the things that we're not going to be taking with us, wrap up and complete the lessons, and finish up any last tasks that we need to do in order to fully step forward. Once you take that step forward and move into that new world energy, we can't go back. There's no going back to an old world or way of being. It's not possible and not meant to be. You don't have to redo any of that work. That's the good news with the World card when we receive that. But here's the thing, we got the world in reverse. And the way that I'm receiving this card is that, yes, we are in the precipice and in the chrysalis of the creation of the new world. Like it's actually happening right now. We are doing it. But we're not fully there yet. We're not fully out of the cocoon, whether that's on a personal level, maybe with an aspect of your world and in your life, or with the greater collective that's very clear. And the thing with the world reverse that we can often experience is a level of impatience. Like, why is it taking so damn long? Why am I not here yet? Why have we not figured this shit out? Or why does this one thing keep happening? We're so close. We're so close to this new chapter and moving forward, and yet it's not there yet. We're ready for it, and yet we have to sit in the old world just a little bit longer while the work is being done. The transformation is happening, but we may not feel the after effects of it. And with this, of course, I must say, there is divine timing. There's timelines shifting and jumping. There's so much at play here that is not in our control. So the practice here and the invitation is, how can I cultivate patience in this time? What else can I be doing? For example, what am I willing to clear out that can no longer move forward with me? And cultivating trust that whatever it is that you are creating and this new world, it is on its way. It's actually, the roots are already there. It's already being born. So you can trust that all of that is underway, and your work is to tie up those loose ends, to clear out whatever needs to be clear. And here, especially with the new moon in Gemini, I would say thoughts, beliefs, and systems that are no longer working for you. Those got to be cleared, and new ones that are supportive and regenerative need to take root and take place so that you can move forward in the best way. I know it can be frustrating, but I think this card is so perfect when we look at this time, especially connected to Mercury retrograde coming out of this eclipse portal, it just feels compounded, right? Some of these things that we're experiencing, like errors or glitches. And the card that I have, it's from the tarot deck by UUSI Tarot, Pagan Otherworlds. I love this deck. It's so beautiful. And I'll be sure to share a picture of it in the podcast page on my website. But the figure here is a being with wings. And it's very much reminiscent of Mercury. And when we think of Mercury, Mercury with wings and flight and the wind, Mercury was the Roman god of messages and communication, including divination, so divine communication, and also served as the guide of souls to the underworld. He holds a magic wand, which is also depicted as the caduceus. This is the staff with the intertwined snakes that you might be familiar with. And Mercury wears winged shoes and a winged hat, again indicating that flight, that movement, that wind energy. So lots of connections on multiple dimensions here. And I would say just from what's coming up for me right now around this tune, this world card reverse, is rechecking in on our communication patterns. And that is not just human to human. It's also our communication within ourselves and with the divine, with source, right? This connection and communication with all that is, with the field, whatever way that you relate to the divine, it's our connection and our ability to communicate with that really needs to be looked at here. So lots of invitations for you around communication with this episode. And again, for those of you who are interested in learning more about Feed Your Wild Voice, I'm really passionate about sharing this program because I believe we are collectively being called to connect with our inner voices and guidance now, as we're being called to stand tall in our truth and really express it clearly with integrity, alignment, compassion, and strength for the good of all, for everybody. And this is one of the biggest challenges I see empathic, highly sensitives, intuitives, healers making, is that our voices have been silenced for so long by ourselves and by others. It's a huge reason why there's so much internal pain and confusion and feeling like you're stuck and disconnected. It's also a huge reason behind the crazy mess we're in globally. But of course, we have the power to change this. And we are being called to shift this right now. It's time to stop the silencing of your voice by others and by you, and instead to nourish and feed your wild voice by liberating your truth. So this is why I created Feed Your Wild Voice. It's a jam-packed, self-paced program that helps you to activate your inner voice and speak your authentic truth as a clear and compassionate channel. It also sets you up to really nourish and support your throat center and the physical elements of, so thyroid and any throat-related ailments. So if you have symptoms of a challenged or silenced voice, such as difficulty hearing or expressing your inner truth or the divine truth, throat-related issues like chronic strep, thyroid issues, dental issues, blocks in your communication or feeling like you're not being heard. Maybe you have fears of public speaking, shyness, hiding, or holding back your truth. Maybe there's a lack of healthy boundaries here. These are all signs that you could use a little support or a lot of support in this voice center. And when you activate your wild voice, you step into the creatrix role of your life. You connect with your innate wisdom, you trust yourself, you expand your inner hearing. And so that can include telepathy, hearing your guides, hearing your inner voice, and holding sacred space for others. You courageously express with integrity and honesty. You gain clarity and become a clear channel. And you experience some major shifts in your external world by breaking through these old patterns. And of course, by doing all of that, you change the damn world. So that is my why behind the creation of this program. If this sounds like something that you're interested in, I invite you to check out more about it. We explore food as medicine, herbalism, functional nutrition, energetic healing, throat chakra balancing, voice exercises, voice practices. We have so many bonus experts and teachers that are also a part of this program. Some really beautiful work that I revisit every now and then. Yes, I do my own programs. I literally created based off of the things that I found helpful for me and synthesized and really bridged the science with spirituality as related to healing this center. And I hope that it's supportive for you. So make sure you check that out and join before the price goes up and we close doors on this flash sale. The sale ends June 6th, so make sure to check it out before then and really feel into whether or not this program is in alignment for you right now. I want you to use this in practice to build that discernment muscle and to build that connection to your inner voice and see what your inner voice is telling you about this in this time right now. All right, my loves. That's all I got for you today. Enjoy your new moon, and we shall connect in our next episode. Much love. Be well. Hey there, I made something for you. One of the biggest challenges that I hear from people is that they are feeling stuck when it comes to their health. You're a smart, capable, and creative change maker, right? And you know what you should be doing for your health. So what gives? Well, it's not about willpower. And I wanted to create something that would help you to unlearn the things that are keeping you stuck so that you can get out of your own way and master the mindset of health. That's why I created Wildly Unstuck, where you'll learn the top 5 things that I have found to sabotage your health goals and what to do about them. You'll learn what it really takes to become committed and unstoppable when it comes to your health goals and find the clarity you've been looking for so you know exactly what to do to get back into alignment. And I made it totally free. So if this is something that you want to dive into and create a vision and soul goals for your health and your life, and bring your gifts to the world because we know that we need it, then I invite you to join us in Wildly Unstuck. You can find that at wildlyrooted.com/unstuck. I'll see you on the other side.